Hey y'all, it's Digital Learning Day 3 that I'm going to go over today. And I've already got some of my problems written down on my paper. Once again, just like I said yesterday, please make sure that you are attempting to do these problems on your own before you're listening to me give you the answers, and feel free to pause the video as you go along. Try to do number one, and then listen to me go over the explanation. Then pause the video and try to do number two, and then listen to me go over the explanation. So we're going to get started. Number one says, Tia was flying her model airplane. It took the airplane 5 seconds to go 90 feet. What was the average rate of speed of the model airplane in feet per second? And what immediately jumps out at me with this problem is a ratio. So I know with ratios I can use our trusty bridge map, and I like to have 3 categories in my bridge map. I like to have my words to keep my numbers organized, and then my known ratio and my unknown ratio. So if you're doing this with me, you can pause the video now and try to figure out what goes in those 3 blanks. So my words are going to be seconds and feet. So here I'm going to fill in my bridge map of seconds and feet. And my known ratio is this airplane goes 5 seconds in 90 feet. So up here on the seconds row, I'm going to put 5. And on the feet row, I'm going to put 90 because it took this airplane 5 seconds to go 90 feet. Then we want to know, what is the rate of speed in feet per second? Well, that word per means 1 second. So I know my unit is going to go up here with seconds, and then I want to know how many feet that plane can go in 1 second. Now I can cross multiply and divide. That means I set this equal to this. So 5x equals this times this, which 90 times 1 is 90. And then divide both sides by 5 because we want to isolate x on one side of the equation. 5 over 5 creates 1, so I'm left with 1x equals 90 divided by 5. And if I'm doing that correctly in my brain, it's going to be 18. 5 goes into 9 one time, 4 left over, 5 goes into 48 times. Yes, that's 18. So x equals 18, and what that means is that airplane can go 18 feet per second. That is its rate of speed, 18 feet per second. Number 2 wants to talk about properties, and I'm noticing most of these problems today are 7th grade problems. This is a good 7th grade review, so you're going to have to dig deep back in your filing cabinet and your brain to remember these things. So here I have the equation 5 plus 2x minus 7 is equivalent to 5 plus 2x minus 14, and it's asking you what property is being used here. Well, I know when I see parentheses and a number hanging outside of that I can distribute that and get an equivalent expression. So that would have, I'd bring down the 5, and then 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times negative 7 is negative 14. And that is the expression that it says that this expression is equivalent to. So we know that these are equivalent because of the distributive property. Number 3 says Haley put $1,000 into a savings account that earns 0.75% annual simple interest. If Haley does not make any deposits or withdrawals for 18 months, how much money will be in her account? So the formula for simple interest is interest equals principal times rate times time. Interest is the amount of money you earn when you save money, or the amount of money you have to add on to the principal when you borrow money. So principal is going to be the amount invested or borrowed. Your rate will always be in decimal form, and this is a little bit tricky, especially on this question when you see 0.75%. That looks like a decimal, but it's actually a percent. So we have to change that into a decimal. And then your time will always be in years. So here we have another little trick that they like to do where they tell us our time is 18 months, and we'll have to convert that to years. So we will need to solve for the interest because we're not given the interest. Kyler, bring me your calculator, please. I'm going to have to do some calculating here. The principal is the amount saved or borrowed, which is $1,000, times the rate. So your rate is 0.75%, but when we change that to a decimal, we're going to get 0.0075 times the time, and the time has to be in years. So 18 months is 1.5 years because it's 1 year and 6 months. So can I go ahead and put that in your calculator? 1,000 times 0.0075 times 1.5. So we get interest equals 11.25. Now, the question did not ask us how much interest would she earn. It said how much money would be in her account. So that original amount invested doesn't go away. So now we have to add that interest to the original amount invested, and we will get $1,011.25. So that's the total amount in her account after 18 months. Number 4 says the ratio of a rectangle's length to its width is 2:1. If the length is 32 centimeters, what is its width? Once again, I've seen ratio, so I know I can go to my bridge map, and I want to use my words to keep my numbers organized, my known ratio, and my unknown ratio. So my words here are going to be length and width, and we know that that length to width ratio is 2:1. That's my known ratio. And if the length, so we're up here on the row with length, is 32, what is the width? So that is my unknown, or my variable that I'm solving for. I can cross multiply. So 2 times x is 2x, and it equals 32 times 1, which is 32. Divide both sides by 2, because it's early in the morning. I'm going to put it into my calculator just to make sure I don't make any mistakes, and get x equals 16. So what that means is that if the rectangle's length to width ratio is 2:1, if the length is 32, the width is 16. and that is centimeters is our unit of measurement. And then number 5 says Shane bought 1 notebook for $2.50 and 6 pens. He spent a total of $10. How much did each pen cost? Well, we know that our unknown here is the cost of the pens. We know that 1 notebook costs $2.50 plus 6 pens at an unknown cost is going to equal a total of $10. So here our goal is to isolate X, or to get X on a side by itself. So I can undo everything that's being done to X. So the first thing I need to do is subtract 250. Because we have an equation, whatever I do to one side has to be done to the other side to keep things equal. I've created a 0 pair here, so I'm left with 6x on this side equals 10 minus 250, which is 750. And then x is being multiplied by 6. In order to undo that, I have to do the inverse, which is divide by 6. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side because this is an equation. 6 over 6 is 1, so I'm left with 1x equals 750 divided by 6. And my calculator is $1.25. $1.25. I can go back and check my work, which I should do anytime I have an equation. So I have 250 plus 6 times $1.25 should equal 10. That'd be 250 plus 6 times $1.25. I'll put it in my calculator just to be sure. Is 750. And 250 plus 750 is 10. 10 does indeed equal 10. So I know my answer is correct, that each pen cost $1.25. Make sure you're getting your reading in. And a lot of people have asked if they have to upload any of this to Google Classroom. You don't. Just keep your work, keep up with it, and you'll turn it in when you return to school. Miss you guys. See you tomorrow.